Hey, let's get into some wide receiver recruiting for the Fighting Irish. Is there anybody new or someone that's trending toward the Irish at this particular time?
Yeah, it's interesting, Darren. Like I say this a lot. Notre Dame is just one of those schools that if the kid visits and it clicks, Notre Dame can go from the outside looking in to the number one school. And for a prospect like Tanu Hines from Houston, he picked up his offer from the Fighting Irish back in December and really didn't hear anything about where the Irish stood for him. Sources aren't really talking about he hadn't visited campus. I'm just thinking, all right, well, I mean, I guess, the Irish are just, in better position with other receivers. And, he's kind of just fallen off the board. But, that thought process was definitely wrong. This 5'11 and a half, 170-pound receiver, four-star prospect, according to the On3 industry ranking, is definitely a key target for the Fighting Irish. And he was on campus just this past weekend, and sources are really buzzing about how Hines' visit went. Um, yeah, I mean, he really clicked with the coaching staff. I think the 4 for 40 message made an impact with him. He went up there with his high school coaches. I think they had a really great time, and expecting Hines to get on campus to South Bend this summer for an official visit. And I wrote about this at the Gold Standard on Monday afternoon. You can find that at blueandgold.com. It's my weekly in-depth recruiting scoop article, and wrote that I don't know. I sometimes these recruitments can just trend really quickly. So like Hines has a few official visits locked in. Interestingly enough, Notre Dame's not one of them.
Hmm.
I do expect him to move some things around to be able to officially visit Notre Dame in June, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is a young man who just pushes things up and wants to announce sooner than later. But Notre Dame battling the likes of Texas, Texas A&M, LSU, USC, Oklahoma, Miami, Penn State, Florida, and
Wow.
Michigan, just a few of the offers to name for Hines. So the player comp I have, just to give people an idea of the prospect that Hines is, think of Rico Flores, but faster,
Ooh.
which Rico Flores and was a really nice slot receiver his freshman year at Notre Dame. But, the kind of, knock for the lack of a better term was he's just not the fastest guy. But Hines has legit speed, and he's a playmaker from the slot. So yeah, I mean, and Flores could play out wide, so can Hines, but just kind of a do-it-all receiver. So yeah, Tanu Hines. Notre Dame's got 3 receiver commits. Darren, Tanu Hines is a name to keep an eye on for sure.
Pretty good sign with as hot as Texas football is right now. In fact, it's probably as big as it's been in 20 years since they won the title in '06. It's interesting to see a kid from Texas all of a sudden warm up to Notre Dame after I saw on the screen for those watching on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel that Texas was at the top of the list.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, Notre Dame's just one of those schools that they recruit. They
Different.
have to recruit nationally. You get the kid on campus, and it can click. So we'll see if the Fighting Irish can close. On this Houston area prospect there.
Just curiosity, Notre Dame brand is booming right now. So that's number one when it comes to getting people's attention. Have you noticed at all talking to kids that Mike Denbrock being the offensive coordinator, has that clicked at all with kids?
I think it's just added another notch to Notre Dame's belts, if that makes sense. Like
Sure.
all of the factors about Notre Dame, you got the academics, you have the alumni connections, you have the tradition, you have Marcus Freeman, the individual position coaches, but it's like Jared Parker, really good relationship builder, but first time play caller, I should say. Um, a factor like when Deuce Knight talks about still Jared Parker as an important part of him committing to the Fighting Irish and what Parker told him. That I mean, Deuce still talks about that, but Denbrock and developing Jaden Daniels to go from a star quarterback to a Heisman winner, the track record that he has, it's just kind of another really solid factor that the Fighting Irish staff can use on the recruiting front. And Denbrock does a really good job connecting with the players, especially on that football acumen level.
Mike, let's go to the back end of the defense for a moment and talk some Notre Dame football safety recruiting. And let's focus on 2025 safety, JaDon Blair.
Yeah, someone we've been talking about for a long time. He was on campus last Wednesday, and it wrapped up Saturday. So it's longer than a 48-hour official visit. So, typically those unofficial visits are a day, maybe two. He was on campus for about 4. So
Wow.
extensive visit. Blair and his family got to see a ton. Hearing really good things. We talked to Blair. You can find that article at blueandgold.com. And the feeling going into the trip, Darren, was that Penn State led and that Notre Dame was running number 2. This is not coming from Blair, so take it for what it's worth. But my sources feel that Notre Dame not only has pulled neck and neck with Penn State, but actually pulled ahead of the Nittany Lions. So, it's like you're down 17-14 in the second quarter, and then you score a touchdown. You're up 21-17 in the third quarter. That's really where it's at with Blair right now. So Notre Dame might have a 4-point lead over Penn State right now, but you still got another quarter and a half to go because Blair, last time I checked, has 7 official visits locked in, Darren. That old rule of 5 official visits has gone away. You can take as many official visits you want. He can only go to Notre Dame once for an OV, but he could go see 50 colleges for official visits, if he somehow had the time to do that. But I think that Notre Dame, again, has that lead right now, but he's going to take a bunch of summer officials. Blair would be a really nice get for the Fighting Irish, but it's kind of like I don't know if this is the right term, but a little bit of a luxury take because they already have 2 really good safeties in Ethan Long and Ivan Taylor. I think Ivan Taylor is probably my favorite prospect in the class right now. So if you get JaDon Blair, you're just adding a big time safety on top of already 2 big time safeties who the Irish have committed. So safety recruiting looking good for the Irish. Even with Chris O'Leary's departure, Mike Mickens has been doing a really good job. Marty Biaggi, Dre Brown. It's a real team effort back there for the Irish recruiting that spot. So, yeah, that's the update on JaDon Blair. Visited Notre Dame for a few days. Love where the Irish are at. I think it's Notre Dame slightly ahead of Penn State right now. Michigan's very much in the mix. And then, like I said, he's got a few other officials. I don't remember off the top of my head. I think South Carolina might be Louisville. But, yeah, this recruitment still has twists and turns to go. But, yeah, I like where the Irish are at right now.